Hey there, and welcome to my video. It's a Guild Wars 2 class guide, and I'm sure there's a lot of these out there, but I wanted to do something a bit different. With the help of my assistant, I had a lot of fun making this video. Let's jump straight in. Now I know what you're thinking. Orcs don't exist in the Guild Wars universe, so why have I got my brother here to wear an orc mask? Well, I'll have you know, it's actually a really ugly Sylvari mask. Anyway, without further ado, let's start with our first class.
Whoa, this looks like a tough fight. What am I going to do?
Yeah!
Oh! No, someone call an ambulance. But not for me. Spirit weapon, go!
So a Guardian's like a Paladin, except a Guardian don't need no god for his power. They're decked out in heavy armour, their abilities focus on giving themselves buffs, and its class mechanic is Virtues, which gives the Guardian passive abilities which can be spread out to allies when activated. And it's well known to be the tankiest class in the game. They also have the unique Spirit Weapon abilities. Very cool. At level 80, Guardians can take the Dragon Hunter Elite specialisation, which gives them access to the longbow and, as you'd probably guess, focuses on ranged combat. Or they can take the Firebrand, which gives them the axe and abilities more focused towards offensive support. Overall, I'd say the Guardian's a pretty good class to start off with if you've had experience in other MMOs. It's not my cup of tea, but if you're looking to be a bit more durable with a bit of a challenge to actively buff yourself and help your friends, then it's a pretty good class to go to.
Whoa, this looks like a tough fight. Minion, go get him, go get him!
So if the Guardian's lawful good, then the Necromancer's chaotic evil, using death magic and whatnot. Great for anybody who's feeling edgy. Don't be fooled though, you might think they're a bit of a glass cannon, but the Necromancer can be very tanky due to its high health pool, life stealing abilities and class mechanic, which uses life essence harvested from dead enemies to enter a shadow state, where it gains new abilities and extra health. The elite specs include the Reaper, giving the Necromancer a great sword to focus on melee combat, while the Scourge focuses on minions to help support allies. Oh yeah, the Necromancer also gets minions, which are kinda like pets, except you don't want to let them up on your lap. So overall, the Necromancer is a great class to go to if you're brand new to MMOs and you want to play a spellcaster. It has a lot of durability, making it a lot more forgiving, and on top of that it has quite a bit of versatility, with you being able to go for tank build late game.
Whoa, he looks tough. No way I'm going over there. Got an idea. What? No, no! What? Get off it! Get off it! You bad dog, get off!
If your favourite character in Lord of the Rings is Aragorn, then you should play the Ranger class. I mean, there isn't too many similarities, but Aragorn's a Ranger, and there's Rangers in Guild Wars. Anyway, the Ranger is a medium armor user. The easiest way to explain it is that it's kind of like Hunter from other MMOs. Its class mechanic is a pet, which makes it one of the easier classes in the game. However, you can spec to be a bit more reliant on your pet, as you can spec into using command abilities where your pet can like guard an area or revive allies and whatnot. However, unlike Hunters, Rangers aren't tied to ranged combat, being able to equip weapons like the Greatsword, Longsword and Axe for melee combat. At level 80, the Ranger can spec into the Druid specialisation, which gets a staff and is more support focused. Or it goes for the Soul Beast where it, I don't know, like it absorbs the pet or something and gets unique abilities. It's pretty weird. So is the Ranger a good starter class? Absolutely, I think it's one of the most noob-friendly classes. My only complaint with the Ranger though is that it's a class that I don't really think stands out above the rest, and if you're looking for a bit more of a challenge, I'd try one of the other classes.
You smell.
Oh, what? That makes me quite angry. Angry. Gives me special attack. Ah!
Okay, I'm gonna be blunt. I know I said the Ranger doesn't stand out, but the Warrior is literally the bread and butter of every MMO. Seriously, I think that's one of the rules. You can't be an MMO without a Warrior class. Anyway, let's have a quick look at what the Warrior's good at. And the answer? Pretty much everything. I mean, just look at this booklet. All those ticks by the Warrior, that's how many weapons they can use. I mean, it is a bit dated with elite specs, so... And on top of that, they're also pretty durable. And if you ever get stressed out with Guild Wars, don't worry, that's the Warrior's class mechanic. They bury that anger deep inside them, and then release it by doing crazy attacks depending on what weapon they've got equipped. And just when you thought the Warrior didn't have enough weapons, the elite specialisations, of course, give them more. The Berserker specialisation lets them equip a torch and allows the Warrior to go berserk. This gives them a huge buff in combat. Or you can go for the Spellbreaker, which allows the Warrior to equip double daggers, and believe it or not, build it to be even more tanky. So, is the Warrior a great starter class? Yeah, it's probably the best. It's got versatility, durability, it's got it all. The only downside is you have to play as the token MMO class.
Whoa, this is a tough fight. What am I going to do?
Oh!
Yes!
So Revenants use the power of the mists, which is what connects worlds, so I don't know, they're space warriors. But what's unique about the Revenant is its class mechanic. See, they can invoke 2 legends of the past. Invoking a legend will determine the Revenant's utility skill, but they also have an energy meter to manage, so they can't just stick on one, they have to rotate between the 2. The elite specs of the Revenant are the Herald, which allow them to equip shields and thus be more tanky, and also the Renegade, which allows them to equip a shortbow for ranged combat. It's also worth noting that the Revenant's the only class they've added to Guild Wars since launch, which means all their abilities look bloody cool. So, overall, would I recommend the Revenant to a new player? It is classed as one of the harder classes in the game due to the extra abilities you have to manage, but I think if you're experienced in MMOs, it shouldn't be a problem and would make a great starter class.
Whoa, he looks tough. I got my weapons at home. What should I do? I know. Stolen!
Well, the Thief's pretty much what it says on tin. I mean, its class mechanic is literally steal. It steals something off the opponent and then gets an ability based on what it stole. The Thief's also pretty unique though in the sense that it doesn't have ability cooldowns and instead has an endurance bar. Tie this with the fact that it specialises in stealth and shadow stepping, and you've got a class that can quickly get in, deal damage and get out. So the Thief is already pretty mobile, but its elite specialisation, the Daredevil, adds to this even more by being the only specialisation that has 3 dodges instead of 2. They also get a staff, but not to cast spells, it's to smack people with. Or you could spec into the Deadeye, which gets a rifle, and basically makes the Thief a sniper, which is pretty cool. So, would I recommend the Thief class? Absolutely. It may be a bit more difficult with its resource management, but that's how most MMOs do it anyway, so it's definitely in the grasp of a new player.
Whoa, he looks tough. Clone, attack, attack!
So you know how in Matrix, like, there's never one Agent Smith, there's always like 1500 of them. That's pretty much the Mesmer. They spawn clones in various ways, and the unique class mechanic is to explode them to various effects. It's definitely one of the most unique classes I've seen in an MMO. And let me tell you, these guys in PvP, nightmare. I mean, the whole idea is that when clones first spawn in, they deal extra damage, so you want to explode them once they've done that. But in PvP, you're just running around guessing which one's the real one. So at level 80, the Mesmer can go for either the NECROMANCER elite specialisation, giving it a shield and making it more tanky, or it can go for the Mirage specialisation, which gives it an axe and focuses more on evasion. So, would I recommend the Mesmer as a starter class? Sure, I don't think the clones are too hard to manage, and if you've played other MMOs but looking for something new, then this is where you could go. The only downside to the Mesmer, and I'm sure you can see for yourself, is that it's pretty flamboyant.
Whoa, this is a tough fight. What am I going to do?
Hey you, do you like Avatar, The Last Airbender? Would you like to be the next Avatar? Well then pick Elementalist. As I'm sure you all know, there's 4 base elements in this world, and that's reflected in the Elementalist class mechanic. You see, they have 4 elements to attune to, and these determine their weapon abilities. So that's 5 weapon skills times 4 elements. That's 20 weapon skills. What the hell? Don't get excited though. You're not allowed to weapon swap as an Elementalist, so you can't have 40, I'm afraid. The elite specialisations include the Tempest, who wields a Warhorn. Choosing this specialisation allows you to overload your elements, which is pretty much just a really strong ability. Or on the other hand, you can go for the Weaver, who wields a sword. This allows you to attune to 2 elements at once, which sounds pretty crazy. So overall, would I recommend the Elementalist as a starter class? Probably not. Sure, it has more abilities than most classes, but I don't think that really makes it stand out in any sense. And at the end of the day, having to track more abilities makes it harder for you to set up your own rotation.
Whoa, this is a tough fight. What am I going to do? Get off of it, George. Come here.
So engineers don't get your traditional weapon swapping, but they do kind of get it through kits, which are utility skills which swap your current weapon for a kit, such as the bomb kit for example, giving you 5 new weapon skills. This means that if they built solely on kits, the engineer would have 35 weapon skills. Pretty crazy already, right? But then the class mechanic is 5 more abilities based on their utility skills. That's 40 abilities in one go. What's also pretty crazy is that they can't actually equip a melee weapon until they hit level 80, when they decide to go for either the Scrapper, the Great Hammer Wielder who uses gizmos to control buffs and debuffs, or a Hollowsmith who uses a sword and builds on durability. It's also worth mentioning that they're the only class in the game that gets turrets, and I don't think I need to tell you what a turret is. Either way, would I recommend the engineer to a new player? Absolutely not. I've played the game 7 years and I still can't play the engineer well. I suppose if you're focused on it, it'd be good, but if it's your first time on an MMO, I would go for one of the easier classes. And that's pretty much it for the video. I had a lot of fun making it, and I hope you didn't cringe too much. I needed something to show here, so here's me chasing Doug after he took the Nerf bullet. Anyway, see ya.
There's a good boy. Leave it.